in it right away. Okay. So good morning, guys. In this class, we will be learning about concepts relating to 3D viewing. So far, we have learned concepts with respect to 2D viewing, and before even we get started with 3D viewing, we will have a look at a small demo in order to understand the reshape function and the viewport function. Right. So in two-dimensional pipeline, I was telling you that if there is a display window, your world after clipping, right? If you have a world which has objects, you know, something like this, after clipping, you would get like this.
We can't hear you, sir.
Sir, we can't hear you. Sir, we can't hear you, sir.
Yeah, now, am I audible? Okay, fine, fine, fine. Thank you guys for pointing out. So, what I was saying is, after clipping, if this is supposed to be displayed in my display window, this is the display window, you will have your title here, close, minus, maximize, you would have this is the window, right? So let us say I want to display my scene in this area. This is the viewport, right? In that case, what I can do is I can define this viewport using GL viewport function. It takes 4 parameters. The first 2 parameters will be the position of this left bottom corner of this viewport window to the window corner. So let us say display window left bottom corner. This is X and this is Y. Then say suppose this is W, this is H. Now these 4 parameters are the parameters that are needed to define a viewport, right? So basically when you will have to pass X comma Y, that is the left bottom corner of the viewport with respect to the display window left bottom corner. And then width and height. So these will be the parameters that you will define for the viewport. Now once you define a viewport to this, what happens is this, after clipping, your window will be actually mapped to the viewport. Right. I also have a demo for you to demonstrate having multiple viewports, splitting the screen and looking at a scene from different directions using different camera. For that, I need to cover some concepts. After covering the concepts, we'll have the demo class. However, this is the basic idea of the viewport, right? Now, what happens if we actually don't use? Now, see, by default, the viewport will have, let us say the window is of, the display window itself is W and height is H, right? The default viewport will be 0, 0, W, H, meaning to say whatever the window dimension is there, viewport will be mapped to the complete window. That's why you actually see whatever you are clipping result from the world, right? That you will see in the window like this. That is the reason why the complete scene will be mapped to the complete window, because by default your viewport will be set to the initial window size that you take. Now, what happens is, say suppose I have taken a small program here where is the code visible to you guys? Code visible to you guys? Okay. So I have initialized the clipping window to 500 and 500. Have taken a window of 500 and 500. Right. I have created the window called hello, and then I have defined a viewing window of 500, 0, 500, 0, 500. So basically, I have my display window of size 500, 500. I have my clipping window of size 500, 500. No viewport is being used. Viewport is used in reshape function, but I'm not calling any reshape function. So in this program, so far we are not using any reshape. In display, what I'm doing is, in display actually I am drawing a red square of size 100 cross 100, right? From 100, 100 to 200, 200, I am writing a red square. It's a square, 100 cross 100 square, okay? And then I am also writing a line loop. See, window WW value is set to 500 and WH value is set to 500, right? So I am basically writing a line loop from 5 comma 5 to 495 comma 5. So here I am writing a green line loop at 5 comma 5. I hope you can see the green line loop here, green color. If you want me to change the color, let me know. The boundary, you guys can see that. Can you see the green thin line? Yeah. So this line loop is being drawn from 5 comma 5, that is this point, to 5 comma 495 comma 5, and then 495 comma 495 and 5 comma 495. So that is what these values are. This is just to understand the what is the boundary that I'm considering. Okay, so basically by looking at this, you would understand what is my WW and WH value, where is WW and WH value. Okay, now you see what happens is I have not used viewport, I have not used reshape function, right? What is my view volume? What is my viewing window size? What is the viewing window size that I have taken? The clipping window? Yeah, so 0500, 0500, right? Now, I will stretch this window. What happened is, why did I get a rectangle instead of a square? I should have got the square itself, right? What happened here? I just stretched the window and I am getting a rectangle instead of a square. Aspect ratio changed. Aspect ratio of what changed? Aspect ratio of the screen changed, but the aspect ratio of your clipping window, did you change that? Clipping window aspect ratio was same as that of the display window aspect ratio earlier. Now it got changed, right? So because of that, what happened was 500 cross 500 window is mapped to this, right? Still your WW and WH value is 500, right? So if you see here, this is the 500. Your viewing volume is mapped to a bigger window, display window. That's the reason you're seeing a square as a rectangle. I hope you guys understood this. Now how to tackle this? This is the effect of reshape. Okay, what happens is when you reshape the window, because of the change in the aspect ratio with your view volume and with your clipping window and your display window, the object appears distorted. Basically the scene appears distorted. So how to tackle that? To tackle that, we would use something called as reshape function. So what would you do in reshape function is you are changing both viewport and the view volume to the new reshape function will be called whenever there is a change in the shape of the display window or the dimension of the display window, right? It can happen because you stretch the display window like I did now, or it might happen because you maximized it, right? So it might happen because of this or this. So this will trigger the reshape function. This activity, this display change in the display window size triggers the reshape function, and reshape function by default will pass two parameters automatically. What will be these two parameters? These two parameters will be the new size of the window, that is the display window. Now what are you doing? You are setting your viewport size and the clipping window size both same as that of the display window size. Thereby you are maintaining the aspect ratio. The aspect ratios of the window and the clipping window, display window and the clipping window are in sync now. Now, if I stretch it, what happens is, if you see, the square remains the same. Now, what is happening? The value of WW and WH are changing. If you see, I am assigning WW and WH to the new window size here, right? That's why it is changing. Now, what is happening is you're actually increasing the field, the field of vision what you have. It's like you're seeing the bigger portion of the world in a bigger screen, of course, right? Now you reshape, it doesn't affect it. Now why am, you might get a doubt that why am I even, uh, I can achieve that just by reshaping my view volume, right? Why do we need to set my viewport also? If you have that kind of a doubt, what happens if I don't have the viewport? Let's just look at it. Now, see, I reshaped, but my viewport, did the viewport dimension change? Did I change my viewport dimension now? I commented viewport. So viewport dimension did not change. So what is the value of viewport so far? What is the dimension of the viewport? I did not change my viewport. I commented it in my code. I have commented it. So what is the dimension of the viewport? No, so not same as that of the clipping window. The clipping window dimension I am changing, right? See here, I am changing it to the new clipping window size is bigger. It is same as that of the display window. However, viewport is not changing. Viewport is still 0500 because it got initialized when I started the program. The default clipping window was set to 0500, right? Once it got assigned, and it is still 0500. So what is happening now here is the view volume, whichever falls in the area, the viewing, the world scene, whichever falls in this size, let us say updated size is 0, 800, 0, 500. Now whatever is falling under 0, 5, 800, 0, 500 is mapped into the display window in the size 0, 500, 0, 500. That's why the object became smaller. It's actually shrinking. The more you stretch it, the more it gets shrink because you are expanding this much area. It's like you have taken a fixed area 0, 500, 0, 500 and you are squeezing in the bigger viewing area or bigger part of the world in that fixed window, which is viewport. That is, I hope you guys understood what happened here. The viewport was fixed. Did you guys understand it? Others, only Ashwin is talking, people. Okay. So this is actually the effect of, viewport, or this will be the actual thing that will affect when you reshape the program, display window. That is the reason you actually reset your viewport. Now what happens when you do this? When you do this, whatever the window size is, the viewport, defaulted viewport will change to the new window size, as well as the new volume, view volume will get allocated to this viewport, and this viewport will be mapped to the new window. So the aspect ratio of everything are same now. Everything is aligned. Everything is equal. That's why you won't get the object in a distorted fashion, or the object doesn't get distorted. No matter how much you pull and push, the object size will still remain the same. I hope you guys understood this demo. Any doubts in this? Okay. So that, guys, is about the reshape function. Okay. Uh, Moving forward, we will look at 3D viewing. Okay. So we would start with just an overview of 3D viewing, small comparison with the 2D viewing, and then we will also look at viewing, how to view a 3D, a three-dimensional scene, what kind of projections would be there. We like 2D pipeline, we will also look at 3D pipeline, and then we would be looking at some parameter called as viewing coordinate parameters. So we will see in detail. Now, when you compare, you're right, when you talk about three-dimensional scene in computer graphics, it is every object in this. So far, we have also looked at programs for three dimensions, right? We have looked at T-pos, we have looked at cube modeling, right? Now, everywhere we have even looked at the Sierpinski gasket, that is also a 3D program. Everywhere, every object so far, whatever we have designed or modeled, right? Every object would be modeled as a set of surfaces, right? The cube is modeled as set of polygons which acts as surfaces, and that acts as the surfaces acts as closed boundary around the interior of the object. So the cube, let's take the example of the cube. So if you have a cube of this sort, you would model the 6 surfaces, and that will give you the exterior surfaces which actually is covering the interiors of the object, the shallow object. Basically, this cube is shallow, right? So that is how you treat objects in 3 dimension, typically in any computer graphics system, right? Now, many processes in three-dimensional viewing is similar to your two-dimensional viewing, right? There are, of course, some extra things that you will have to look at, but many things such as the clipping, they are similar to your 2D viewing pipeline. Normalization is similar, modeling is similar, right? Modeling to modeling coordinates to world coordinates, that is similar. So the clipping is similar, but some extra efforts need to be done, right? What is the additional thing that you will have to consider when you look at clipping in 3 dimension? Any guesses, guys? 2D clipping we have seen, but 3D clipping, what is the additional thing you think that comes into picture? Clipping along 3D axis, okay. Yes. So basically, you in 2D you are clipping against a rectangle, right? That is around 2 axes. But in 3D you will be along which it is to be clipped. That's a good perspective, Alisha. Yes, the plane along which it is to be clipped. But when you talk about plane, that is 2D itself, right? We are talking about 3D. When you talk about a plane, that becomes a 2D. Ultimately, what we visualize is in plane. But after the plane, what we see, right? It has to be clipped additionally with respect to, no, as in XY. Oh yeah, yeah, yes, correct, correct, correct. Oh yes, that is correct. Now when you say plane, can we look at this 3D clipping as a volume instead of a rectangle? We are not clipping, with respect to rectangle, we would be clipping with respect to a volume. Can you consider it like that? Where the volume boundary is the plane that you are talking about. Can we look into it this like this? Yes. So basically, clipping, little more extra effort you will have to do, but the concepts remains the same. Cohen-Sutherland beautifully fits into 3D, but only the thing is the outcode in Cohen-Sutherland is actually 4 bits, right? That covers left, right, top, and bottom. But in 3D, that will be 6 bits, which also covers front and back. So basically, if you consider a volume, cuboid kind of a thing, you can only visualize things in that cuboid, or the front plane, whichever is in before the front plane and whichever behind the back plane should not be visible. That's why. So that is the slight modifications will be there with respect to algorithms, but most of it would be same. The concepts, the underlying basic concepts would remain the same. Now, but the 3D viewing also has some extra tasks that has to be performed, right? Any guesses on what kind of tasks that has to be performed? 3D? Extra things compared to 2D. What are extra things that we would be looking at? See, 3D is more realistic, right? So we can model something in reality. What are extra things that we will have to consider? One thing that we will have to consider here is the alignment of the objects in three-dimensional space. Meaning to say, if something is, right, if there is a square here, and then there is a triangle in the back, right? Let's say the square is actually blocking this much area, right? Then the visualization that you should be seeing is actually this. Meaning to say, you should not render the hidden part of the triangle there. You should actually hide it, right? Or you should determine what portion in this area, what portion is visible surface and what portion is not a visible surface. They are basically overlapping, right? That you will have to look at. Yes, Ashwin, yes, viewing angle is also something that we will have to see, but viewing angle is more of a camera property. Yes, that is also correct. Viewing angle in 2 dimension is fixed, but in 3 dimension it might vary. Apart from that, something that you guys have done, you guys have learned, but you are not looking at it. You know, in 3D we will also can capture lighting. Correct? No? Yes or no? The surface properties, the material properties, how much illumination that I am supposed to get, that also comes into picture in 3D, right? So these are the extra things that we end up doing in 3D. So the 3D is more realistic because of it compared to 2D, right? Now you see, one of the important thing that comes into picture in 3D is the viewer. Viewer meaning to say a camera. Right, we can consider this camera as basically the place from which you are seeing the object. Okay, now this camera, imagine you're taking a photo, right? The image what you see is actually a 2D image, right? The image that you captured of the 3D world is actually 2D. So basically you are capturing a 3D world in a 2D plane. Right, and that plane is with respect to the point of view of the camera, that is from the point of view of the viewer. Correct? No? So with respect to that realistic analogy, if you consider your object here in 3D, the only thing is you can place a camera here, you have an object, the viewing plane comes in between. Actually, here in the typical camera that we have in real, right, the viewing plane is actually behind the camera or in the camera, right? But here the viewing plane is actually behind it can be in front of the camera also. So what you end up doing is you actually project this scene using parallel lines or different types of projectors. We would be looking at it, and the image will be formed on this plane, and this is what your actual camera will look at. This plane is what your camera will see, whatever image is formed on it. I hope you guys understood. Did you get the idea what actually happens in computer graphics 3-dimensional visualization? We actually project the scene of whatever we have, the 3D world, onto a 2D plane, right? And that plane is called as projection plane. And that plane, whatever is formed on that plane, can be relative to the camera. And camera sees, or you, the viewer, actually get to see on the screen what is formed on that plane. I hope you guys understood. Okay, cool. So one thing that is important here is to know the orientation of the plane, right? This plane. Basically, see, I'm going to switch on the camera. This camera, you are seeing it with orientation like this, right? As in the head of the camera is in this direction, right? The camera box is like this, correct? Now, you could look at this object with an orientation this, right? As in the camera is tilted. It's like you capture the photo by holding your phone across or horizontally. I hope you understood what I meant. Did you get it what I meant? See, this is the origin orientation of the camera in this camera, but we can also view the when the up of the camera is pointing this side, we can take the image, capture the image with this orientation also. Did you guys understand it? Okay. So, with respect to three-dimensional viewing, the orient, not just the camera position, the orientation of the camera also matters, right? See, it's like you are seeing the imagine you are the camera, right? You hold your phone, you would be capturing an image. You keep your phone vertically, you get to see something, see the world on the 2D screen, right? Now you tilt your camera horizontally. So basically you can hold your camera in any orientation and you can visualize the scene, right? So that is basically the orientation of the camera that we are talking about. So that being said, you can't change the orientation in 2D, sir. See, basically, we are considering a fixed viewer in 2D, right? We don't have a viewer in 2D. 2D is basically you have a plane on which you form the image and that image is rendered on the screen. Did you get it, Krishna? Changing the orientation is you model your object like that. If the plane is large, you can speak, Krishna. I am not getting you. If the plane is large and we want the viewport to be smaller, then we need to use a camera like device. Not necessarily. I didn't get it actually. If the plane is large, you have the clipping window to, look at how much our portion you want. It is like zooming in and zooming out, right? The clipping itself is doing that for you. And viewport doesn't come into picture here. No matter how big or small your viewport is, everything, whatever you map in your clipping window is mapped into your viewport. You can. Clipping window is basically, but yes, clipping window you can consider it as, instead of camera, you can consider it as field of vision of your camera. Do you agree with that? Yes. So it is like a field of vision of the camera. In 2D, you have your camera fixed and there is no orientation of it because you are looking from one direction, that is Z direction. That's the only thing. I hope you got it. Yeah. So yeah, two-dimensional viewing in OpenGL is basically a special case of three-dimensional viewing. Okay. So yes, camera would be there. That would be fixed. That's it. If you change also, basically you're changing the clipping window effect. Okay. So So that talks about orientation of the viewing plane. So orientation of the viewing plane is meaning to say the change in the orientation. So let us say, let me give a kind of a tower on this, looking indicating the top of this viewing plane. Okay. Now if I capture this image by tilting the camera, then the top of this plane would be this, right? So basically on your screen, what you would see is, you would see the object like this. If you are viewing it with an orientation of camera like this, right, then you would actually see the object with, see the top cone is towards the right side of this, from the top, right? So if this is the top, then you would actually see the scene like this. On this plane, you are actually seeing the scene like this. I hope you guys got it, what I meant by orientation of the camera. Did you understand? I need others also to jump in and respond. Come on, people. Okay. So now, you see, camera is not just the thing that we can play with in the computer graphics. We also can play with something called as projections. Okay. So we can decide what way we actually project the scene onto the viewing plane, right? Now, I have a square. Right? If I have a screen over here, if I take all these edges to be, projecting, going parallel like this, if these projectors are all parallel, and then I write my cube, I think I would get something like this. So I will show you the image uh, when we discuss this parallel projection in detail. Basically, when the projector lines, right, assume the projector lines to be the reflection of the light onto the projection plane from the object, right? If these projectors are parallel to each other, then the object size doesn't change, right? So you can project whatever these parallel lines form the image. Because of these parallel lines, whatever the image is formed on the projection plane, that can be viewed on the projection viewing plane, right? So view plane or the projection plane, both are the same thing. So that is one method of doing it. Basically, you are getting the description of the object onto the viewing plane, you know, by projecting the points of the object surface along the parallel lines or using the parallel lines. This is called as parallel projection, right? So this parallel projection is basically what I guess parallel projections is mostly used in AutoCAD. You guys have used this parallel projection in CAD classes. You guys have used parallel projection in CAD classes. I hope you guys have used that. You project it with the parallel lines onto the top view, the side view, and all that. Yes, that is the parallel projection. So imagine there is an object, you have parallel projection onto the viewing plane, and that forms an image on the plane. That image is what you get to see. That is parallel projection, right? Then there is something called as perspective projection. So perspective projection, what happens is, if you have a cube like this, and then the plane is over here, say the viewer is here. Parallel projections are going, the projectors are going towards infinity, right? But here the projectors are with respect to going towards this point of projection or the viewer position, right? Like this. They are actually meeting at the viewer position. So that actually what happens with respect to this is the image is formed on the and then I have this and then this. I would get object something like this, guys. Mm, you know, my object would look something of this sort, right? It's basically what I get to see is with respect to the perspective of this viewer. So the typical perspective projection is what we see. Okay. So what we see is actually the image formed on our eye's projection plane, right? And all the light is confining at our eye. Similarly, the projectors confine at the viewing position. And when they confine at the viewing position, the image is formed on the plane in front of the viewer. And that is what the viewer get to see. Right. So now what happens in parallel projection is, see, in parallel projection, since the projectors are parallel, if the viewer moves away from the projection plane or towards the projection plane, does the shape of the object change? No. But in perspective projection, if the viewer moves away from the projection plane or towards the projection plane, does the shape of the object change? It changes. How does it changes? What happens if the viewer moves closer to the projection plane or closer to the object? The object appears bigger, right? And farther the smaller. Exactly. So that is called as perspective projection. I hope you guys understood the difference between parallel projection and perspective projection. Great. So, so in computer graphics, we can have both kind of projections. You guys have already seen it. GL Ortho actually gives parallel projection, right? Parallel projection is also called as orthographic projections. So that is analogous to the name GL Ortho. GL Ortho meaning to say orthographic. Okay. And this, guys, is basically the three-dimensional viewing pipeline. So 3D viewing pipeline, it takes some amount of time. It might uh, go beyond today's thing. This we will discuss together. So yeah, I hope you guys understood with respect to today's class the different kinds of projection. What are the changes with respect to 2D and 3D that we would come, get to see. And I also hope you guys have understood the use of reshape function, the use of viewport. Any doubts so far? Okay. So in tomorrow's class, we would be like 2D pipeline. We would be looking at 3D weaving pipeline. So 3D weaving pipeline, and then along the pipeline, we would be looking at different kinds of matrices, what we would get to see. Okay. So that's all for today's class. You guys have to answer your attendance now. Please answer. Okay, thank you guys, and if you have answered your attendance, you guys can leave.